Naša gošća je njemačka umjetnica Silke Eva Kästner, pa vas molim da je pozdravite.
Ćao Eva.
Ja ću samo reći nekoliko riječi. Znači, Silke živi u Berlinu i u Kermarku, što je jedno područje, jedan gradić 100 kilometara sjeverno od Berlina. Studirala je na Kunsthochschule u Berlinu. Po završetku studija dobila je nagradu i jednogodišnju stipendiju za boravak u New Yorku, a svoj pristup dodatno je razvila tijekom putovanja u Indiju i Japan. Silke u svom radu preferira participativni pristup i inicira interdisciplinarne suradnje i dugoročne interkulturalne projekte. A o tome ćemo čuti detaljnije od same umjetnice. Hvala.
Thank you very much, Boris, for introducing me as an artist. Thank you very much to Mario and Deborah for my short-term residency in this place, Gradskoj radionici. There were some very beautiful days, and even, just yesterday and this morning I did some small intervention in this backyard. You can see with all this material you can find here, and some paint and some pigments, and it was so playful and light and without pressure, so it just came, and it was feeling so good for me to do a little introduction of my work even in space and the site specific. So I start with my presentation, my small presentation. Like Boris already told, after my studies I had the possibility to go to New York and for 1 year with the German academic exchange program, and I had the idea to make large paintings, and I had no studio but the possibility to connect to people from Colombia, but there was no place in the studio. So I walked through the streets and just used niches, places nobody reclaims as their own space, building sites, or yes, mostly building sites and spaces which are transformed. And I took all my paints in a kind of trolley with me and painted only one day, maybe 2, 3, 4 hours. And later on I came back and observed how the places are changing, because the color opened a new perspective, and it was my question, where does the painting take place and how does color change public space and activate the space for others? I have only one photo here, but you know, for example, this orange, in my view, it's only a part of the full painting, because the architecture, the color of the architecture is visible, or more visible for me than in the picture at least. And people came to the place and put bills and throw the posters away. So it was activated in a time where New York was almost frozen, because it was just after the Twin Towers were attacked. And with my paint I always go for some freedom or some free thoughts in the public. And I leave the canvas, I leave the frame, and I enter the public, and I want to enter it, I want to open it for others as well. So we go on. After New York, I went to India for several times, and I used newspapers and white color, because at any hardware shop you can achieve this. You can buy it very cheap. And at the kiosk you get all the information in the newspapers, but I diluted all the informations and created for myself as a free space again, in a kind of meditative way, because you have to be very careful to cover a newspaper sheet with a brush with white color, it can very easily torn. And then I put together with glue all these sheets of newspapers which are covered with white paint. And for example, here I put a kind of convex curve into a space, and the form reacts to the architecture. It's very thin, but it's very large, and the light is reflected by the ductus of the paint, which is very different, very strong, transparent. So you can maybe imagine it's very vivid, even it's just white.
Yeah.
And this material was very interesting for me. I show you one intervention I did in Kashmir. I went there 2005 and then came back to 2010 with 20 more artists who were traveling from the east to the west of India and helping each other with interventions and artwork in situ, in space and public. Though this time I chose the Dal Lake, and I just want to let you show, it's very dark in the beginning because it's early morning, and I just let you show a little bit the atmosphere of this place.
Morning. How are you? Good? It's necessary to see it for a while to get into this atmosphere for me, and how it comes very slowly to the marketplaces and how it's treated there in the boat, and how the surface is changed. And then now there are maybe 5 more minutes when I take it back, and it's getting very silent again. So it goes out of this place with all these vegetables. I also did in Kashmir. We first went to the university, some performers, actors, writers, dancers. And because the dancer was dancing there with the man in the public, we had to leave the university and we went to Ekta. It's a place of, to Ekta, it's a place of actors. And we could do performances 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And at this place we had food in this kitchen on the floor with a tablecloth, and I decided to change, very similar to this place, just the furniture of this kitchen. You can see in the beginning it was like this. There was already color. I changed a little bit and I offered it as a performance space then after having food together. And first the actors started to tell a story and we had to interrupt after a while, and I asked them not to think too much about a story to be told, but to follow the material and the space and the relation to each other. And then it became very interesting. And I liked very much the comments too of the people who said they did not know that we can do so much out of very little resources in every place. And coming back to Berlin, I invited dancers into my studio for 3-4 days to play with the material. Now I show you a series called Kusek, and Kusek is a measure of flow speed, a measuring unit, and I call it Kusek because I repeated the concept at different places, indoors and outdoors, and in this case I did it in an exhibition space in Berlin during 6 weeks. And I collected colors of people on the streets. I asked them for their favorite colors, and they mixed it themselves and painted a monochrome paper. And I added another color on the backside of the sheet. Then I brought all these monochrome papers to the exhibition space, in front of the exhibition space, and I invited the people, the visitors, to do their own composition. And I left one camera in the space, so they could choose at any time a certain situation they like to take a photo of. And I took those papers to another space, very narrow and very small, tiny exhibition space. I put it just on the wall. It's almost like a calendar. And I also did it in cooperation with the Städel Museum in Frankfurt, in the area of the main station. I had this mobile vehicle with colors and an assistant, and asked people to paint monochrome papers and post them in the streets. So there were a lot of posters, and sometimes it was not possible to choose a place, but many places we just overtook. From this idea I made two-dimensional work, collages, and combined printing technique with paper and paint. And there are many different, from one photography actually, there are many different collages. I just show a few of them. These are just two-dimensional pictures you can put at the wall, but there's space in it, and there's this Kusek works is part of it because it's a beginning of these collages. I also work with children, and I have big respect for every artist at any age. So I address them as artists. And in this case, we did a workshop during 1 week. I decided we will make a big collage collecting sounds. And we had a sound artist. We were drawing sounds in outside, and then we took just the material, placed it, and sewed it. But we also saw the work of Noah Eshkol. It's an Israeli artist in the Kolbe Museum, who also worked in cooperation with others, dancing and making visual arts together. And it was really amazing doing one big collage together. And we combined it then later with the sound we collected. So this is very, very short film. It's actually a work of the sound artist called Roberta Busekian. She's living in Trieste. She's half Slovenian, half Italian. And she made these sounds, collected them, and presented them in the sound, in this tunnel, this green tunnel, and our collage was just the entrance. I can show you once more, 7 seconds. I call it roll painting. it's an 8-meter long canvas, and it's going. It's ongoing. You can choose the part you want to see. It's Council, Regional Council Freiburg, in the canteen where people eat, and they can. I mean, if they like it, they can choose the painting for the day. Very last now, one film I want to show you. It's a film I made for Oslo, for a symposium in Oslo, and I'm describing the method of painting and the way I see a
Imagine
collage.
a space we share with others. Let's suck the air out of the space. Walls become a flexible envelope which covers the inhabitants. Its contents appearing as an abstraction of material and body fragments. Body and material blur, creating confusion as we fail to discern the borders of the solid form. In costume, I approach the autonomously moving parts of the body, which are no longer locatable to an individual, but affect the movement of the fabric as parts of the body penetrate the surface from the inside. The shell is a painted surface, a kind of mobile painting. It covers an accumulation of energy developed by individuals, captured in one and the same skin, from which they cannot escape. Color and material set my mind free. There is some freedom in losing control through following the physical properties of materials and involving others in the creative process. This is the material I invite you to play with. Comparable to the process of painting, colors and shapes in the process of change. In this way, I channel the heterogeneous nature of the collage, which brings together the contradiction and integration of the unknown. Through coloring the leg and the arm of the performers, the body is further dissolved into the three-dimensional collage. The background color of the green grass, the light of the evening, these I have chosen on purpose, but still it is like a gift, just like the wind which moves the material. This is what I call working with the space.
Bravo, bravo. Now you can.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.